How does the average 401k balance compare between millennials and Gen X? It's hard for me to say this as a millennial, but we are getting older now. And as time passes, more and more Americans are feeling behind on their retirement savings. And the annual Vanguard study showed that average 401k balance for people between the ages of 35 and 44 is $91,281. However, the median 401k balance is only $35,537. This age group happens to be pretty close to the millennial group, and that's me, I'm one of them. And over 56% of Americans feel behind where they think they should be on their retirement savings, and 37% feel significantly behind. And around a quarter of workers haven't made any retirement contributions in 2024. So let's take a look at the 401k in another way to help you understand how much you need to have saved. By age 30, you need to have at least 1x of your current income. By age 35, you should have at least 1 to 1.5 times your income saved. By age 40, you should have 2 times your income. And by age 45, you should have 3 times your income saved. But again, this is also assuming that you're not retiring until age 65. If you want to retire earlier, these numbers need to be much higher. Let me know in the comment section down below where you are with your 401k balances. So let's say your gross income is $75,000 a year without adjusting for inflation. By age 35, you should have $75,000 invested in your 401k. By age 40, you should have $150,000 invested in your 401k. And by age 45, you should have at least $225,000 invested. But then again, these examples are not accounting for inflation adjustments or your income increases. Your goal is to exceed those balances so that you have the possibility to retire early at the age of 55. And the Bankrate survey showed that a vast majority of millennials between the ages of 27 and 42 feel behind with their retirement savings, while only 9% believe they're ahead. And I'm in the millennial category. I definitely feel ahead now on my retirement savings because I've been very intentional with my savings and investing. This is my retirement timeline, and I know exactly when and which account I can make withdrawals from, right? You can feel free to take a screenshot of this. And when I completely paid off my debt at the end of 2015, I was very behind on my retirement savings. At the time, I barely had any in my TSP at the time, but now it's 401k. So from 2017 to 2019, I went above and beyond by contributing to my 401k in the private sector to the absolute maximum with mega back to Roth. And it took some sacrifices, but it's also worth it now, right? So once you reach $100,000 in your 401k, your dollars will compound so much faster. But just keep in mind that not everyone, including you, will have the same retirement timeline as mine. And once you hit that $100,000, and when I hit that, I took my foot off the gas a little bit and just went back to just maxing out my personal contribution limit because I wanted to have more fun at that point. And I felt like my numbers align with my FIRE number. Okay. So I encourage you to create your own financial independence timeline so that you understand when you're eligible to get those accounts. Now, I can show you all of these numbers all day, but it's really on you to act. Am I going to make you rich? No, because it comes down to your behavior with your finances. This is something I've noticed with the comment section and people who have doubts about retirement savings. It takes confidence to know what you need to do. You have to start with $1. If you're the type of person who doesn't want to learn, you're never going to succeed. I'll say it again. You're never going to succeed if you keep doing something that hasn't worked for you in many years. You can sit there all day long to complain about inflation and the government when you can take control of your finances and make some changes today. By the way, did you know that over 50% of Americans who make over $100,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck? So is it always an income problem or a spending problem? If you're having trouble figuring out your budget, I encourage you to download a budgeting app called YNAB. YNAB stands for You Need a Budget. That's right. Whether you make $50,000 a year or $300,000 a year, every one of you needs to create a budget to achieve financial independence. You need to give every dollar a job so that you can be more intentional with your savings and spending. You can get a free trial without any credit card information by using the link in the description below, right? And how is Gen X doing with their retirement savings? The annual Vanguard study showed that the average 401k balance for people between the ages of 45 and 54 is $168,646. However, the median 401k balance is only $60,763. If you're 45 years old, you still have time on your side to contribute to your 401k to meet your retirement goal. However, if you're 54 years old with $60,000 or $168,000 in your 401k, then you're most likely behind on your retirement savings unless your expenses are going to be significantly lower, or you have a large pension income coming in, or if you have other streams of income besides the 401k. And the biggest issue continues to be the contribution rate. And most people, and let's just say not just Gen X, but most people, they're behind on retirement savings due to a high level of debt. And I'm going to target Gen X for a second here, right? And Gen X now has the highest credit card balance out of all generations. And that's according to Experian. And Gen X, their average credit card balance has grown by nearly 50% since 2012 and now exceeds $9,000. At the same time, the average credit card balance among millennials has more than doubled to just over $6,600. So millennials are not doing it much better. They just have a lower credit card balance. But we need to take control of that. And workers who make less than $50,000 a year are least likely to contribute more to their retirement. That is understandable since most of that $50,000 income will go out to their expenses depending on where they live. However, higher income households, take a look at this. Higher income households don't necessarily have a higher chance of contributing more to their retirement accounts. When people are making $50,000 to $80,000 a year, there's a 28% chance that they will increase their retirement savings. But it decreases to 24% when their income goes to between $80,000 and $100,000. And this is according to Bankrate. And only about 34% of households making $100,000 or more increase their retirement contributions year over year. So when income goes higher, not everyone can or will increase their retirement contributions. And about 25% of Gen X workers do not know how much they need to have saved to fund retirement and live comfortably. And I know I keep bringing up Gen X, but that's actually for all generations. This is a concern because every one of you needs to know what your retirement number is going to be. Don't blindly invest. Know what your numbers are going to be. Are you trying to replace, let's say, $1,000 of your income, 100% of your income, right? If you're making $100,000 right now, do you want your lifestyle in your retirement to be the same at 100% or at 100K? Or are you able to bring it down to 80K per year? Those are the numbers that you need to know, right? So what are your annual expenses are currently and what your expenses will be in the future, regardless of your age. Since Gen X is much closer to their retirement age than millennials, their annual expenses shouldn't change as much for inflation. So if your annual expenses are going to be $50,000 a year, then you need to multiply it by 25 to get the retirement number at 1.25 million. So with a 4% withdrawal rate, that 1.25 million is how much you need to have invested in the 401k if 401k is the only investment account that you have, right? So these are the things that I still have concerns, and I'm trying to help as many people as I can with their 401ks. And, it's just, you don't know where you are with your retirement because you don't know what your numbers are going to be. That is the starting point. When it comes to retirement planning, for those of you between 45 and 54, you need to know how many income sources you'll have in retirement. What are your expenses going to be? Are you going to have your mortgage paid off by the time you retire? You can't calculate your retirement number without knowing your retirement expenses. Once you have your baseline expenses figured out, you can calculate your retirement number and then calculate how much you need to invest every year to get to that retirement number. And I'll say this over and over and over again. How much you contribute to your 401k will matter more than how well your 401k mutual fund performs, right? You have to stay focused on your savings rate after getting out of high interest debt. You will become one of the 401k millionaires if you remain consistent, like that lady I was telling you about, with your savings rate. Imagine just living on your 401k starting at the age of 55 because you work so hard to get there. And this has been another beast of a video, and I hope you got a lot out of it.